I got to overdo it, right? Coming at you live from beautiful South Pasadena, California, in these, what do we call this? DNHQ with our fancy new shelf. If you're watching us, this is the Blue Heaven Podcast. It's been a whole year since we've done this. So
we haven't done this since last year.
So I almost pushed the wrong button. But welcome to this show. Welcome to 2019 Blue Heaven. I am Clint. You can find me on the internet as Real FRG. That's Twitter and Instagram. Who are you?
You can find you on the entire internet?
All of the internet, literally. Wow. You can look for my name if I had it up there somewhere, but I don't have it up there.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And I am Brooke, and you can find me at BrookeMe3 on Instagram and the Twitters.
We're very proud of you. You get your first point of 2019. Subscribe to this podcast. We are on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, iHeartRadio, basically everywhere podcast can be heard. You can hear us. You heard? Also, live streams every Tuesday. I know, right? Hey, got swag. Every Tuesday, we're doing this live throughout the season. We're on Twitter and Periscope, Facebook Live, Twitch, YouTube. So come hang out. We're going to take questions along the way at some point. But, yeah, most importantly, find all of our banger content on DodgersNation.com. But, yeah, Happy New Year, man.
Yeah, it is a new year.
This
is a different year than last time we were together.
I haven't seen you since last year.
You can stop watching now.
Just tune out.
Just
point.
Unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe.
That's a good point to stop. There you go.
But yeah, man, everything appears to be, at least we're healthy.
Personally,
as humans, we are as healthy as we're ever going to be from this point
I'll probably
forward.
never get better.
Yeah, no. You could just do better.
It's probably.
By the way, Kowski, if you're out there watching, we do have our beers. And also, Krajewski, we have our beers. And we have a beer waiting for you, too, by
Rick,
the way.
It's up there somewhere. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, no, actually, they're over there. That's a very important thing. So important topics, as you guys might have saw if you were watching as our little pre-stream thing. We're going to spring training. We're super stoked about that. Dodgers Nation will be out there. We're going to be bringing you some banger content. That's what I'm going with. 2019 is the banger year.
The banger year?
Yeah. This is like Miley Cyrus. That was a good album. Bangers?
That's
Miley,
over
right?
My head. I don't know. I don't even.
Kids these days,
is Miley Cyrus? Is she Hannah Montana?
That's
Is that a different person?
Two different people.
I don't know what's going on.
We're going to be discussing, as per usual, with these shows and Dodgers Nation. We'll be discussing the latest in Harper Watch 2019. And we're going to have a very, very special guest, a first-time friend of the show, Mr. Bill Plunkett, on with us when we're talking about Harper. And also got to catch up on some things that we've missed. But, of course, by the end of the stream, we'll be taking some questions. But first, what has happened?
I think we missed a little bit.
Just a little bit.
There was this one thing.
So we did a show, and then 3 days later, all hell broke loose.
Right. We decided that we weren't doing a show for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And then the Dodgers said, they're not doing a show. Blue Heaven's taking this week off. We better drop something. And
boy, did they ever.
That they did. Did they ever?
Well, important things to catch you guys up on. Big time news. Bryce Harper is still not a Dodger. I know. Because... Fraudman. I'm not a Fraudman guy.
The good news is he's not anything. Well,
he's not anything yet. He is a human person.
I've heard that.
Debatable.
Yeah. I mean,
allegedly.
Hunter Strickland might have some other...
Yeah. I don't know. He can't throw a helmet. I don't know if I want that guy.
That's true.
There's still not a clear-cut catcher for 2019, even though I'm a Barnes guy. Are you on the Barnes train yet?
I wasn't, but now I am.
You must have been reading DodgersNation.com.
Check it out every day, new stuff.
But yeah, our pal Tim, SD Dodger, he put out some another article, kind of touching again on the latest and greatest with what's going on with the catchers and some options. Still no Cervelli either, by the way. But those are the things that haven't happened. The important things that have happened was everybody was traded. Everybody.
Everybody was traded. I'm pretty sure nobody's on the team anymore. I think that's what we've decided.
Yeah. They traded Kershaw, and they traded Gary Lee. They traded.
Oh yeah,
we have
no more producers on this show. They were traded to Cincinnati.
So our sweet, lovable child Yasiel Puig is now a Red, which is unfortunate, but also is Matt Kemp, and right here he's turned away because he's banished. Alex Wood, we knew that, and most importantly, in the Kyle Farmer trade, Kyle Farmer was traded to Cincinnati.
This was a Kyle Farmer trade. That's what it boils down to.
Plus, I think at least all of his career earnings, probably, maybe he might get the $7 million. So they also sent $7 million over to Cincinnati, and we got Homer Bailey, who was immediately cut. Like
I was a Dodger for longer than Homer Bailey was, I think.
We're proud of you for it. You get a couple of points for that. And 2 minor league prospects. What were your feelings? Tell us about the moment Puig was gone.
Well, there's 2 sides of it. There's the emotional side, and then there's the logical side, which I guess is
we're not here for logic.
Kind of sums up your entire life. I mean, there's only really those 2 things. I don't really think there's much more.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly.
You're being illogical.
Exactly.
Huh?
That's the emotional. So obviously, we grew up. He's been around not that long. 2013.
6 years. Yep.
2013. That's a pretty long time to get to know somebody. I wrote a tweets on the internet that said, Puig represented the end of a pretty terrible time in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
He represented kind of the light at the end of the tunnel for the McCourt era. For those of you who lived through that as Dodger fans, which most of you, if you're, older than 15, you probably lived through it. It sucked.
If they're older than or younger, they still lived through it.
They lived through it. They just weren't really good fans.
They had to get changed.
They didn't really have any responsibilities.
Do we?
I don't.
We're responsible to bring you this fantastic show.
Exactly.
I was going to throw the pen, but I need the pen.
You need the pen, and the camera probably can't handle it. I love Puig. I think he was a great guy. I still think he is. I would really like to root for him in Cincinnati. I can see us playing him and possibly running into problems. I can see that happening easily because just judging based off of his social media interactions, he's trying to put Los Angeles behind him so hard and win the breakup.
He's trying to win that breakup
so hard. He's always got Reds hats on. He was never wearing Dodger hats in any social media ever.
He was talking caca on one of his guys. Who
was wearing the Dodgers gear.
Brother or cousin or brother, whoever he was.
So, with that aspect of it, all right.
It's not taking the breakup well, that's for sure.
When you look at the numbers, you look at the luxury tax break, you look at the prospects that they got back, and you look at the fact that they got rid of Alex Wood and we'll never have to see him in another playoff game on our team ever again.
Very excited about that.
Then you start to think this was a pretty good trade.
Yeah, what was it? Dodgers ended up netting I think it was $17 million or something like that.
Yeah, it was close
towards
to that.
AAV.
Yeah, it's like $17 million they save. They get Homer Bailey's contract,
which is a decent amount of money.
It is.
Yes.
It is a pretty good amount of money.
Analysis. FYI, $17 million is a good amount of money. Before we get into some of the positive, my reaction, my feeling of it. So it couldn't have come at a worse time for me because I had just gone birdie, par, birdie on the back 9 at the golf course I was playing at. And then our friend of the show, at Bergman Greg, he texted me. He's like, hey, are we going to do an emergency live stream tonight? And I was like, what the hell happened? And all of a sudden, it was like, hey, everybody's gone. So I go and text my connection to Puig. And I apparently am the one who had to break to them that he was getting traded slightly, which was cool. I am the one who told Puig's person, let's call him person, that, hey, the Dodgers just made it official. So
sorry.
I am sources. I'm just saying, I am sources.
You're usually who I'm referencing.
Can confirm. That's what it is. Confirm, you know what?
That's your first 9,000. That many.
That one.
Yeah.
I had over 9,000 confirmed deaths in Medal of Honor. Didn't get a Medal of Honor though. But yeah, it was rough because obviously I had to now switch and start working a bit because we had to get that story out. And of course, you pulled in clutch. But from that point on, it's just like you're processing the whole thing. It's like, really, Puig's gone. I get it. Oh, this has to mean everybody was. This means Harper's next, right? Harper has to be next. Here we are. 3-4 weeks later? Update currently says no Harper, which is unfortunate.
As of right now, no.
Yeah, producer who can't talk back into my ear. We should probably fix that, by the way.
He can yell.
Find a way.
He can yell.
Yeah, he can yell.
No
Harper. He's no Harper.
No Harper.
This just in. No Harper. But yeah, what I hated about it, and I talked about this with Greg, I hated it because at the end of that day, even now that week or whatever, you're a less good team on paper. You lost your right fielder.
You did.
You lost your star right fielder, whatever he may be. You lost a guy who carried you in the first half. Let's not just call this the Puig trade because Matt Kemp. I feel bad for the guy. One season back home, and he did his damnedest. He fell apart. He was ran into the ground in the first half.
He got old.
Things become things.
Yeah.
Back in my day, players didn't get old thanks to good old HGH. Satisfying.
Just like Mom used to make.
But positive. Let's be positive. Alex Wood's gone. That's a positive. But the kids we got back were pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a couple of the guys that they got. They got
which
some
was
prospects.
two of them. They got
a
couple.
I mean, other than Homer Bailey, who's not a kid. I mean, he has like a kid name or like an old man name. I'm not really sure.
No, he's aptly named Homer.
This guy did say that I could probably pitch better than Homer Bailey, which I would like to point out is not true at all. I can't really go more than an inning without most things falling off or apart. It's not good.
Kickstarter.
It's not good.
I thought you were going to learn to start throwing left-handed.
I was trying. I blew out that shoulder too. So
very proud of you.
Right. So we got two guys in the trade. We got Jeter Downs and we got Josiah Gray.
Yes.
So Jeter Downs, he automatically slots in as the Dodgers' number 7 prospect. He's 20 years old, drafted 32nd overall in the 2017 draft. And from most of the things people say about him, he tends to barrel up the ball pretty consistently. He has an approach to all parts of the field. Mm-hmm. He should hit for a high average according to most scouts, and it's mostly thanks to a disciplined approach. He doesn't strike out a ton. He's got pretty average speed, but he's a super aggressive base runner. Mm-hmm. He stole a pretty high amount of bases. I think 37 last year in 2018 in A-ball. And he had a pretty decent showing. He hit like 257, which is
because he was he said this was his first full year in 2018.
Right, this is the first full year he got to play pro ball.
And now the Dodgers have more than just Gavin Lux to be the middle infield depth.
They do, because he is Gavin Lux is the one.
He's the future. We know that.
Yeah.
He's second baseman of the future.
He's going to be Corey Seager's right-hand man, or I guess he'll be on the left, so left-hand man.
Is he his new elbow ligament? Is that what it is?
That's too soon.
Sources say
are saying
it's too soon. That is inaccurate.
The other guy is Josiah Gray. He slots in as the number 16 prospect. The thing people like about him is he throws hard, and he throws hard for a long time.
Yeah.
He goes deep into games, finds the zone with his fastball. He's got a pretty good slider that he needs to find control of, but he looks like a guy who could either eventually slot into a bullpen as a late inning threat, as a hard thrower, or he could be a guy who was a rotation guy.
Yeah, they said he has a ceiling of like a 2 or 3 guy.
Yeah,
that's the ceiling. The floor, if you can have somebody like, Joe Kelly had a high ceiling as a starting pitcher that did not pan out. He was a middle reliever.
Right.
And it showed. It showed big time when he started relieving. I mean, unless you just don't count his regular season in 2018. But at least we paid him all that money. No, I like the guys coming back because it does help. Our pal, everybody's favorite, Andrew Friedman likes to bring up. We've traded a lot of guys over the last handful of years.
We have.
And we still have that, they haven't traded any of the biggest names for the most part. We've, knock on plywood. We've gotten lucky enough to trade the guys that haven't quite panned out. So I'm cool about it. Of course, sometimes you bring back, let's say, Logan Forsythe that doesn't quite work out, or who's the other second baseman?
The Dozier. The Dozier.
Dozier Stadium. But, yeah. I'm okay with the guys. I like the potential of that. Plus, they're people that can be lumped into trade at some point in the future.
And that's what a lot of people thought initially. Mm-hmm. Is these are going to be guys that are included in a. Most people automatically pivoted to a Kluber trade, which is kind of looking less and less likely as time moves on. But even if they aren't included in any trade, I'm pretty happy with what we got in the return. We save money in the long run. We save money on the tax break for this year, and we get to rebuild our farm system. When you get a number 2 top 20 prospects, that's a pretty good trade, and you don't lose money. That's a pretty good trade.
And you traded from a source of pretty much since Puig has come up, the outfield has been a surplus. So we've had way too many outfielders, and then way more outfielders, potential major league outfielders, than spots to play them. And now this is pretty much a clear opening, assuming we don't go out and pick up, and I say we because I throw a couple bucks at it too, assuming we don't go out and get Harper. Which I don't think is going to happen. I just really don't see Harper lining up on this team. I see him lining up on this team. I don't see him lining up this offseason. It doesn't make sense. I'd rather wait a year, try to get Nolan Arenado. JT's going to be a little bit older next year. We're all going to be a little bit older. That's besides the point. But I'm
actually going to be younger next year.
That is impressive.
Yeah. It's my backtrack year.
Doctors hate him.
Doctors hate me for this one trick.
We can go and give you a point. Wait, what? So anyways, yeah, I guess enough rambling on that. But yeah, that's what we're saying. I'm super excited for Alex Verdugo to finally get his chance. I really, really do hope. I was actually talking to a good friend of the show today, Dieter Rule, who was nice enough to walk by or come by today and drop off a couple nifty gifties. One of them you can't see up there, but he brought a little snow globe, and he brought Mr. Hershiser here on the stream. And this ball is signed by Mr. Dieter Rule, friend of the show.
Friend of the show,
and I think that he's our starting second baseman. For
he is, yeah. We don't
team.
Really have a clear. We don't have a clear lineup.
Yeah, sorry, you're
roster.
shortstop.
Am I?
You better start getting.
This is a revelation.
Get them shoulder workouts going.
Here we
buddy.
go. Got a new team.
But him and I were talking about Tolles, and I'd love to see Tolles get a chance. Do you think he gets a chance?
You know, it's weird because we kind of shaped up and cleared up the whole idea of. You know, there's a logjam in the outfield, but we didn't at the same time. We kind of made it more complicated because now Alex Verdugo has a clear path to a starting job, which was never the case. I mean, in any time that he's been in the organization, it's never been the case. But he, you know, a lot of people think he is ready to start and he should be given a chance. And I'm one of those people. I think that he needs an opportunity to prove himself. And I think this is the defining year for his career, whether he's in LA or not.
So we have on the stream here, Facebook side, AJ Vincent says Verdugo will be an all-star this year. Can we brook it? I think we could brook it.
Verdugo will be an all-star this year. Wow, that's
yeah. Hey, give him a shot. Give him a shot.
You know what? I'm gonna go with that. If he is indeed on the team, if he is, I think he will be.
If he gets that opportunity for sure, and he's also going to be a guy who probably finds his way to the top of the lineup, like a leadoff hitter.
He is a leadoff type hitter. You know, when Bellinger kind of first showed up and he was hitting near the bottom of the lineup, just because you can't really throw in your top prospect in the top of the lineup and expect him to produce right off the bat. I think he's going to be that guy. I think he's going to start off, hitting 8th, 9th, or not 9th, hitting 7th,
probably
8th.
not 9th.
I mean, you might. Kershaw's a pretty good hitter. He can handle the bat.
I'd throw Greinke ahead of him, but he's gone.
Is he?
Well, not here. He's just not here. He's a little gone.
He's gone mentally. Yeah, he's not all there. I think he eats toenails. I'm not sure what he does.
Daniel says Tolles, Verdugo, and Harper. I like that Daniel Best throws Tolles in his outfield.
Tolles, Verdugo, and Harper. That's a lot of left-handed hitters.
Yeah, that's another problem. I think we're going to get to that a little bit later. We know
the team is only left-handed.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a problem.
Only.
But it's going to be interesting to see as we're now I guess it's about a month and a week away from spring training. Thereabout.
Is that where we're at?
Thereabout. Yeah, from pitchers and catchers at least.
Like first, it's the second week of January now.
Yeah, I mean the dates haven't even been officially announced yet. On Instagram, we're saying we're this many days away from pitchers and catchers reporting. What's up with that? I mean,
36 days. February 13th.
Where did you see the date? I haven't seen the date.
It's been released.
Everything I've seen says 12th or 13th. For most big league clubs.
Yeah,
that's why I love Valentine's Day.
That's kind of what we're going off. I based it off the 13th because that just seemed like a good day.
Yeah, I love Valentine's Day because that means baseball's back. That's the most important thing about Valentine's Day. Tell your wife, tell your kids, tell your husband.
Hide your kids, hide your wife. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to go there. But, we're excited. So, like I said at the beginning of the show, we will be going to Arizona. We're going to be going to spring training.
There you go.
Wait, I guess I should give us applause. Thank you, audience. Thank you,
producers.
So we're gonna have like 400 of us, all of Dodgers Nation. We have that random thumb that if it did make it in, there it is, random thumb. Thank you, random thumb on the live stream. Mm-hmm. Oh, you chose the wrong seat, random thumb.
Yeah, you can't be in it now.
Unless you swoop around and come out from the side.
There you go. There's the other thumb.
We got the middle thumb.
Other thumb.
The middle thumb. But I think. Well, you said, and we talked a bit before the show, you've been to spring training. This is going to be, my 5th or 6th year straight going. You haven't been in a couple of years.
I haven't been in a few years. I think I haven't been in 3 years, which is about right. That's about the time I met my current fiance. So that
Current fiance,
yeah.
Did you have another former fiance, or do you have any future fiancés?
It just sounds better when I say current, just in case,
So that way everybody knows there's maybe just that hint of a chance.
Yeah, that she might leave me. Yeah, exactly.
That she can do better.
She can do way better than me.
Then all of this. The guy who brings
spot of sunshine with beer.
Ooh,
that's good.
That's the name of the episode. That is the name of the episode. Yeah, that's straight into our magical break. So before we do take a break, we do want to announce again that we're going to spring training, and we've partnered up with Arizona Office of Tourism to bring you some highlights over the next month and try to get you out there. So I want to let you know that this spring, follow your favorite baseball team to Arizona for Cactus League spring training, because that's where all the good teams is. Cactus League.
Yeah, not that other lame league.
It's always perfect weather. You don't get that in Florida. You get perfect
weather. Sometimes
weather.
It's raining, and sometimes you just never
in
know.
Arizona, it is always perfect weather. So you can follow just about any team you can see on the screen. There's 15 teams. There's 10 stadiums, and just about always 75-degree temperatures. So get out there, follow your Los Angeles Dodgers, where you can get that amazing weather. The landscapes are great out there. They have a lot of stores to load up on your tailgating before. Exciting outdoor adventure, incredible food. Arizona is the perfect home base for all baseball fans. The food is I would say, probably the most important for me and my group. Most important part for me and my group.
The food?
Yeah, breakfast. We go hard on breakfast. We plan about, I would say 90% of it is like, okay, we're going to go or 10% is, we're going to go to these games, these dates. All right, where are we going for breakfast? And the breakfast spots are whatever that means.
Good. I think it means good.
You could brook it. But yeah, there's other amazing restaurants. There's bars nearby. You go party over by ASU. There's a lot of good fun entertainment out there. Tons of craft breweries. Four Peaks is out there. Mm-hmm. Angel's Trumpet Ale House. Mm-hmm. And Goldwater Brewery Company.
Goldwater.
Mm-hmm. It's also a Walmart to get some booze out there too. But
there are Walmarts.
Yeah, so we're going to be out there. We're going to be out there for the end of February, which is going to be very, very much the excite, because there's going to be baseball happening.
There is going to be baseball happening.
The actual games happening.
Right.
Plan your spring training getaway. You're going to want to go to visitarizona.com/spring training. Again, that is visitarizona.com/spring training. And that's where you can get a bunch of options on places to stay, places to eat, exciting, places to go explore, because you don't have to go out there just to go see a ball game. There's hiking, there's urban centers, there's ghost towns, artsy communities, there's all this stuff. So again, visitarizona.com/spring training. So we are going to go ahead and take a quickie break.
Just a quickie one.
Just a quickie break, because we got to set up the call. Mm-hmm. But when we do get back, we're going to be talking to Mr. Bill Plunkett of the OC Register. So we'll be right back. And we're back.
Back we are, and back with us.
That's the way I have to do it. I just have to do the whole ordeal. I can't not do that.
It's got to be consistent every time.
Tell us who's on the phone.
Yeah, back with us, we have Dodgers beat writer / sports writer for the Orange County Register, Mr. Bill Plunkett. Give him a hand, would you?
There it is. A hand.
Bill, thank you for joining us.
Man, I didn't know you had an audience there. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah,
Very
we got
real.
a real true audience, because We have buttons for it.
Right. Yeah. The electronic audience, the best kind.
Live studio audience.
Exactly. There you go.
So, well, I guess not studio. We do have a live internet audience. So everybody go ahead and mash a heart and all that for Mr. Plunkett. So welcome. This is your first time on Blue Heaven. I've reached out to you before, and we're able to work you on the show. So number one, welcome. Number two, Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to everybody out there too. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's excited. Of course, we're getting that much closer to baseball, but things don't quite seem to be happening yet. The off season of molasses.
It doesn't have to happen yet. First, I think pitchers and catchers report 5 weeks from today. 5 weeks is a long time.
There it is.
There you go. So looking at where they're at right now, Bill, just a little over a month before the pitchers and catchers report. How are you feeling about them? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What's your general take on what the Dodgers are doing right now?
I think they will still do something significant before we head to Arizona. Real Muto hasn't been traded by the Marlins. Kluber, Bauer haven't been traded by the Indians. Bryce Harper hasn't signed yet. These things are all still out there, all still in the realm of possibility. I don't think they're going to go to Camelback with Austin Barnes as their only viable catcher. They'll do something there.
Well, now you made us look bad because we said, "Hey, everybody, Barnes 2019, it's going to happen."
He will play a significant role on the team, but I don't think he will catch 162 games.
Obviously, there's a lot of concern in the outfield that, like I said, I think everybody was expecting after the big trade, and we want to get your reaction on the trade as well, as I'm calling the Kyle Farmer trade. There's a lot of everybody was, hey, Harper's coming, this has to be next. Well, nothing has happened yet, but we'll get into outfield in a second. You were on catchers. What do you see? What is your kind of gut feeling, or maybe people whispering in your ear about who could be the guy they're going to pick up? Because, outside of the number one, which is Real Muto, which is what everybody wants, of course, comes at a price. There's Cervelli, and there's some free agent options. What do you think fits best?
Yeah, I think they've got plenty of fallback options. Martin Maldonado hasn't signed yet. Cervelli has been made available by the Pirates. I think Nick Hundley is a free agent. There's and now that Puig isn't there, it's okay to bring Nick Hundley in. They won't fight.
Yeah.
So I think there's plenty of those Plan Bs still available. The story with Real Muto that I've heard from the winter meetings on, and even before that, the Marlins were not happy with themselves over what they got for Christian Yelich. In fact, they were kind of embarrassed. They didn't do a very good job. Yeah. You trade away 2 MVPs in 1 year. They did not do a good job in the return department. So now they want, if they're, Real Muto is really their last piece from the fire sale. They need it to be a winner. Whoever whatever trade they make has to be a winner. So they're shooting, they're aiming high, and that means they're sticking to their guns in a lot of ways. I think it'd be foolish for them to go into the season without having made the trade, unless they think they can do better in July, mid-season trade. So I think they're kind of sticking to their guns. The Indians have made a few moves, and I never understood why they felt necessary to trade Kluber or Bauer anyway, but they've made some other moves that have made those trading those guys even less urgent for them. So they're looking for, the phrase I think has been tossed out there, a Chris Sale type return if they're going to trade Kluber. So you've got 2 teams kind of dug in, holding their ground, trying to really win a trade with those guys. So it's not gonna be easy to make that happen. It's kind of a game of chicken. Who's gonna blink first? And the same thing is kind of true with Bryce Harper. Scott Boras is well known for taking things to the last minute. I think JD Martinez signed his contract on in the car on the way to spring training. I mean,
yeah, the
Scott
very,
has
very
no problem waiting.
Yeah, very, very end of last spring training or last February. And, of course, that move, sources tell me, that move really worked out.
In the long
It
run,
did
yeah.
it worked out pretty well for Boston. I think Boston did well last year, if I remember right.
Yeah, a little bit. We don't want to talk about
So, I know people out there are giving Friedman and the Dodgers front office a lot of grief for not having done enough, for not being aggressive enough. But really, the people that are holding things up are the Marlins, the Indians, and Scott Boras. I mean, they have decisions to make, and the Dodgers, I'm sure, have been very active in conversations about all these things. They can't force the other team to take an offer. It takes time, and you got to let it play out.
With Real Muto, so obviously the name that keeps getting thrown out is Bellinger, and everybody immediately is telling fans are hang up the phone. From trying to be an unbiased perspective on it, is that reasonable to say hang up the phone, or is it reasonable to look at possibly including Bellinger in a trade?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think the Dodgers, I don't think they hang up the phone, but I think they're really reluctant to give up a guy who, first of all, hit 39 home runs as a rookie. Secondly, can play two positions, well, multiple if you count, other outfield spots.
Very well, too.
At a fairly high level. It fits their MO perfectly, their philosophy to have flexibility and versatility in their players. And he's inexpensive. He's not going to cost anything for a few years. So, those are real pluses that they don't want to give up for essentially a short-term need. I mean, they expect Keibert Ruiz and Will Smith to be their catchers within the next, say, 2 to 3 years. That's not a long time. So you give up, 5 to 10 years of Cody Bellinger to fill a need in the short term. So I understand the reluctance.
Yeah, with Ruiz and Smith in mind, do you think Real Muto seems kind of like a unrealistic option in terms of where they'd pivot for catcher?
It's the luxury option. It's like you need a car, you can go out and get yourself a Toyota Corolla, but why not shoot a little higher and get a Lexus? It's the luxury option, and like I said, they probably have a handful of fallback options in mind that they'll go to if they can't make it happen.
Yeah, and the luxury option, it's not too bad after back-to-back World Series losses, I don't think.
It would be nice to pull them in.
That's the way the Friedman operates. You aim high. I mean, you look at the moves that they've made in season each of the last 3 years. They aimed high. They got Machado, the best position player available this year. They got Darvish, the best pitcher available the year before. They got Rich Hill the year before that, who was probably the best pitcher that changed teams in 2016. So,
thank you for leaving Reddick out of that one too. That's very important.
Yeah, he kind of came along for the ride for a little while. Yeah. At the time, he looked like a good pickup. Did not pan out, that's for sure. But they aim high. They've established that.
Yeah, and that's where now if we can move into a bit of the reaction on the Puig trade and everything. You look at the roster after the trade's done, and I already said this earlier in the show. Of course, you weren't here, but on paper, the team is worse. However, in the minor leagues, if we're talking about prospect depth, they picked up a couple of pretty decent guys. And, of course, they could potentially be flipped. But do you have much of an opinion either way on the kids they picked up yet?
Well, obviously, you just go by word of mouth from the evaluators out there, and Jeter Downs is pretty highly regarded. He was, he's just an A-ball, so there's a long way to go. But he is regarded as a middle infield type who can really hit. May not be a great fielder, may just kind of be an average second baseman when it's all said and done, but can put the bat on the ball. And there's value in that. And the fact that he's regarded pretty highly means that he's a valuable chip if you do want to flip him. It also, if he is a second baseman, Gavin Lux, the first round pick a couple of years ago, as a shortstop, has been playing some second base. So now you've got two pretty highly regarded prospects at second base. So if you do flip one, whether it's Lux or Downs, you have the other one. So that's that prospect depth. The trade was all about flexibility, and the first thing people see is the money and the flexibility there. But you're right. The second half of it was it kind of restored some of the prospect depth that they've traded away the last 2 years and gives them flexibility in who they can offer and how much they can offer in a trade now.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to be a pretty, in terms of prospect depth, there are plenty of middle infielders in the organization that can, in the top to bottom, that can, slot in eventually or within the next couple of years. I think of Seager and Gavin Lux up the middle over the next couple of years. Seems like
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, pretty entertaining middle infield. I don't know what your thoughts on that are.
I think Gavin Lux has got a long way to go.
Oh yeah,
it's fun to play the name game like that, but there are some big jumps still to be made for a guy who's he touched Double-A last year. There's still a long way from there to the major leagues, and it's fun to play the name game with prospects, but that's all they are. They're just prospects until they get here.
So back to the name game here and back to catcher, because that's been the one I've seen the most online of late. Of course, we've been writing a lot about catching online, but I got two names for you. One being A.J. Ellis, which I'm personally not super on board, but I see a lot of people asking for him back. And the other one is what do you feel as the offseason progresses, the realistic chance of Yasmani Grandal finally, or actually returning to L.A.?
Yeah, I think Grandal is unlikely, but I think his agency might have misplayed or overplayed their hand a little bit for him to still be unsigned. I think the Angels would have been a good landing spot for him, but they end up going with Lucroy. I think the Mets probably were interested, but they were scared off by his price tag or something, and they moved in another direction. So, the market has dwindled a little bit for him, and I'm sure the Dodgers would gladly take him back on a short-term deal. I mean, they gave him the qualifying offer. They were willing to pay him $17 million to play on a one-year deal.
Yeah.
So why not double that and go 2 years? I think it would be a face-saving move for him. And maybe that's why they haven't moved on some of these, plan B options, because they could still see themselves doing that.
Yeah, there could still be conversations happening for sure.
Yeah, and, I honestly, though, I think it's time for both of them to move away from each other after what we saw last fall.
Yeah,
I mean, it's clear. It was clearly in Yasmani's head. He was so in his own head he couldn't catch. I mean,
which is pretty pivotal part of the catching position, being able to catch a ball.
Yeah.
That's what we've learned.
Kind of a requirement in the title there. And you don't have a catcher who can catch, you do have a lot of wild pitches, and the ball just keeps going back to the backstop. That would kind of inhibit your run prevention aspect of the game, I think. Which
analysis tells us is pretty important.
I think it's to be accurate, I believe it's 1/2 of the game. You have your run prevention and you have your run scoring.
That's baseball. Yeah,
and we're learning.
That pretty much sums it up. That's analytics
there
right
go.
there in a nutshell. I've summed it up for you.
So the other name I've thrown out, does A.J. Ellis have any spot on this team?
I doubt it.
Right.
I really don't. I mean, I think there are better options out there. No offense to AJ, who was a terrific guy and a very good catcher for a long time. I think they can probably do better.
I like it.
Better than A.J. Ellis. Yeah,
better.
That's probably good news.
I'm being very gentle because AJ was such a great guy.
Yeah, he's a super cool guy. But of course, now, I mean, maybe he'd make a little bit more sense now that Puig's gone.
Maybe a little bit. Yeah.
Safe to say they weren't probably the best of friends, but we're not here to play the blame game or the angry game or whatever it is.
They're going to be so much more boring now without Puig.
Yeah.
If they do make the playoffs and advance, the celebrations are just going to be so much quieter. I personally will feel safer in the locker room during those celebrations, knowing he's not there.
Yeah.
I'm walking away from that.
Yeah.
But we feel you.
Yeah.
We feel you.
Bill, going on that same vein, we had kind of a in-house conversation a little bit over Twitter. We kind of saw it float around a little bit. This idea that, with the possibility of Madison Bumgarner going on the trading block with who knows if that'll actually happen or not, and Puig, obviously, with his departure, does that kind of change the Dodgers-Giants rivalry? Because let's face it, Puig kind of has been at the center of the rivalry since he showed up, right?
Yeah, he did a very good job of getting under a lot of people's skin, and not all of those people were in his own locker room. Sometimes it was the other team, and he got under their skin too. And I think the Dodgers-Giants rivalry will do just fine without Yasiel. It did just fine without him for decades. I don't think that's going away anytime soon.
It'll help once the Giants finally start getting a little bit better. But we hope
here. I'm telling you, they got a lot smarter this offseason.
Yeah,
that's step one.
They plucked one of our guys, which was pretty messed up. So that was actually. Oh, go ahead.
They were last winter. I think they might have had one of the dumbest winters of any team in recent history. I mean, they were a team built around an aging core of injury-prone players. So what did they do? They went out and got some more old guys in their 30s.
Hey, they were
McCutchen and Longoria.
They were a fantastic 2011 team. I don't know what you're talking about. Just
exactly.
They were 7-8 years too late or whatever it is. Math isn't my forte.
An old video game that you just pulled up and went, hey, 2011 All-Stars, let's try that.
Oh, yeah, nobody wants to do that. But luckily they did, and they hung out near the basement. I'm going to say on the topic of Farhan being gone now, we also had Turner left, Turner Ward, Chris Woodward, couple I would. My analysis tells me those are some very big losses, more so for me on the Woodward side. But how do you feel about Van Scoyoc and Dino Ebel coming in and where they fit on this team?
Interesting choices. I think it'd be interesting to see how it plays out. I think in Dino they get an old hand who knows the game inside and out, no question. I mean, I know him I covered the Angels a little bit when he was there. He is really highly regarded as a third base coach in terms of handling, the running aspect of the offense. But I didn't realize he's very good as an infield coach as well, I'm told. And that I think is the biggest loss with Chris Woodward. He was terrific with the infielders. You don't realize how much an effect he had on players like Justin Turner, Corey Seager, and even Manny Machado. Yeah. When he came over, we were hearing these terrible stories of how bad he was defensively at shortstop. Didn't see that in LA, and I think Woodward gets a lot of the credit for that. So they're going to miss something there, and the hitting coach aspect of it, it's an interesting new wave. One of the things Andrew Friedman said when we were talking about the hire was that you've seen in the last 10, 15 years so many advances in here's the phrase again, run prevention side of things. In other words, pitching, defense, shifts, all that kind of stuff. There haven't been the same kind of advances on the offensive side. And guys like Van Scoyoc are part of a new wave of hitting coaches, and take a new approach that we're going to see. Can they have the same kind of effect on the offense as we've seen on the run prevention side the last 10, 15 years?
I'm on board with it. We've seen him.
Well, that's good. I'm sure Andrew will sleep better tonight.
I'm on board with it just because he's CT3's guy, and if he's got the Chris Taylor seal of approval, he's got the FRG seal of approval.
If you can make Taylor that kind of hitter, then I'll take it.
He and Craig Wallenbrock were the guys who turned JD Martinez's career around too, and there's a lot of other professional hitters, major leaguers that have worked with those guys.
All right. Well, if it doesn't work out, we're gonna go ahead and call you just to show up to the stadium and start giving them tips.
Yeah, you'll hear from us for sure.
They'll listen to me. That's for sure.
Hey, last year, what was it? Puig in spring training got some tips from Bernie. I think it was. I think it was last spring training.
Yep.
And now look at him.
The top.
Now he's gone.
Yeah, send him off to Cincinnati. Thanks for that advice.
All right, Bill. We do appreciate you coming on, making your inaugural appearance here on Blue Heaven. We don't want to keep you away from watching your basketball game, but thanks for coming out. Onto your phone.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll talk soon. Hopefully something big happens before we know it.
You got it, guys. I'm pretty sure we'll have a press conference of some kind before I leave for Arizona.
All right, you heard
Awesome.
that. You heard that here
There
first.
you go.
Bill Plunkett guarantees Harper.
You can book it. You can book it.
Thanks again.
You got it, guys.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Bill. All right.
Well, I think we learned some things, and maybe we didn't learn some things.
Bryce Harper's not a Dodger.
He is not a Dodger.
That's what I heard
At
from
the
Bill,
end,
too.
I really thought bringing on Bill would make Harper a Dodger.
You just by speaking it into existence.
Yeah, that's the way it is. That's the way the internet works, guys.
Yeah, you say it and it happens. That's everyone knows that.
I should probably take this off and go back to the full. Oh, look at
look, Bill's not there.
We're full and beautiful again. So, questions on the stream. We have been pulling some of your questions, guys, and we're going to go ahead and get to as many of them as we can over the next, 10 minutes or so.
10-ish?
10-ish.
10-ish?
You want to lead us off?
Yeah.
Mr. Me
yeah.
3?
What do you... There's a...
Mr. Me 3.
Mr. Me 3. That actually sounds a lot better.
You know,
so
we teased it earlier.
Teased what?
The right-handed batting thing.
Oh, the left-handed batting.
Well,
Right-handed
we
batting,
need
left-handed
right-handed. All right, so we know a lot of the internet. As I have you say, lead it off, and then I take over.
Yeah, that's good. It's good, yeah.
Because I want you to answer. How do you really feel about the way the lineup constructs today? And if we're talking about picking up Harper, that's another left-handed bat.
Yeah, and we just got rid of 2 right-handed outfield bats.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird how that works out, isn't it? And Harper doesn't particularly hit lefties like you would think a superstar who makes close to $40 million or is going to make close to probably $40 million a year should. He doesn't hit lefties.
He does not.
At least not as well as he should, or you would expect to. So with that in mind, I think it's pretty safe to say Bryce Harper is probably not what
the answer.
For,
yeah, he's definitely
answer.
He's not the answer.
He's not the answer to their problems, which, I mean, how long has that been the narrative that they can't hit left-handed pitching?
Yeah.
It was for like 4 years, and then it went away for a year, and then it was back.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the most important thing is the idea, the concept is really you need to be able to hit left-handed pitching, and batting right-handed doesn't necessarily mean that you can hit left-handed pitching because we saw that.
Oh yeah,
and it was rough in 2018. I'm seeing some names in here. Logan Jones is saying, "What about Jose Abreu? Thoughts on
what about him?
Exactly. I don't see where he. I mean, I see where he fits. He plays first base.
He plays baseball.
He plays baseball.
And he is a slugger.
He has at least a couple of bats of his own.
He probably does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he fits into the lineup anywhere. He doesn't profile as a typical Dodgers type player. That he could play one position.
He doesn't,
and he doesn't play it very well.
Yeah, he doesn't profile as a Friedman Dodger player.
Not at all. He's not a If you're thinking about what a typical Friedman Dodger player looks like, you want to think about Max Muncie, Brandon Morrow, Chris Taylor,
cheap guys from other teams.
Yeah, Joe Blanton. These guys that show up, they have one good year, or if you're lucky, 2. A lot of people are saying Max Muncie is going to have a great year. We're going to have to wait and see on that one. The jury's still out. We have no idea.
Yeah,
but
goes in sports.
Exactly. Jose Abreu just doesn't fit the mold.
No.
In any way, shape, or form.
And in the same regard, we're seeing, I didn't see who it was from, but I'm seeing a trade for Nick Castellanos as the right-handed batter. What are your thoughts on him?
He's Yasiel Puig without the flair.
Without the defense.
And the defense.
Yeah.
Without the defense or the flair. The flair is important there.
It's super important, yeah.
You need to understand that.
Yeah, he's out there, Puig.
I mean, statistically, they're the same guy. Their cost is even pretty close to each other. So it doesn't really make sense unless, they realize they had to include Puig in the trade. But whatever they would have gotten for Puig, they're going to have to trade for Castellanos. So to me, that's not really an answer either. I know he's been floated out there a lot, and he is a pretty big name that gets floated out often.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot.
But they did make some, small signings, like minor league signings.
Yeah.
Max Muncie type signings that people were really upset about to hear, with over the past couple of weeks. People were pissed. They're like, Who is Peterson? Like, who's Shane Peterson? That's the guy's name? Like, who's this guy? Who's Paulo Orlando? Who the hell is that guy? Jamie Schultz.
Yeah, Schultz today.
Yeah.
These are those dudes.
This is how we found Max Muncie. And you guys need to remember that, because when Paulo Orlando is your starting
with Brooke Meath,
your starting outfielder in the 2019 World Series, you're going to thank Andrew Friedman.
Yeah, and Orlando is I think I told you. So for anybody who doesn't know, Brooks the love of his life was Tim Locastro. Rest in peace. Now he's a Yankee.
Bless up.
Gonna do that. Now, this Paulo Orlando guy, he kind of profiles that. He's a speedy dude. He can't really hit, but when he does, the ball kind of finds some gaps and he can run.
I do have a type, don't I?
You have a type.
I do have a type.
Fast and bad.
Fast and terrible at baseballs.
Fast and really bad at the baseball.
Absolutely terrible.
Logan Jones, he alerts us saying Paulo Orlando is a former steroid user. Well, they didn't work. I'm just saying, Logan, they did not work.
He's minorly exciting. So.
Period. This person's name is Period. Thank you. Posey for Dodgers catcher. Sure. How is that going to happen? I don't think our relationship with the Giants has been fixed that much.
Just because Farhan's over there doesn't mean he's going to make trades with us. That doesn't.
This isn't like when Anthopoulos went over to the Braves and then all of a sudden they took all of our dead money and we got Kemp back. That's not going to happen. Yeah, I
think the Giants and Dodgers, since they both made the move to LA, have made exactly like 3 trades or something like that. It's something ridiculously low like that.
That's
if you know the answer. Put it in the comments below.
We might miss it.
We're probably going to miss it.
I'm seeing some people talking about Miguel Cabrera. I don't think first base is where we need to look.
Expensive, injury-prone, aging first baseman?
We have a Gold Glove candidate first baseman in center field.
Max Muncie.
Center fielder Max Muncie. I've talked about it before. I actually just recently pinned a Cyber article on it, but how... I mean, I don't know, if you have the same analytics grit and scouting moxie as I. Mm-hmm. Perhaps maybe you do. But Muncie got better as a defensive player as the year went on.
He did.
He looked a lot better. He looked a little bit smoother at first base. I don't think first base is where you need to import anybody because you can throw Muncie out there. Bellinger now with Puig and Kemp being gone, your center fielder, your starting guy for at least the next season or two, because I personally don't think Harper's coming. I'm sorry, guys. I ruined everybody's life. But your guy is going to be Bellinger for at least the next couple of seasons. And, there are some people who really want – you don't waste that arm. You don't waste those wheels at first base.
Yep.
I had him first baseman, so I understand and respect – what a good first baseman can do to your infield, and for your infield, and to your infield if it's
et cetera,
et cetera. But I just if Muncie crumbles, then you plug Belly back there. Mm-hmm. If you want to keep Belly in center, you still got David Freese. You can throw Kike over there a little bit. Edwin Diaz is a guy who was recently added to the 40-man roster who can mash but can't really play and has never had a position. Mm-hmm. Well, here's first base because they think anybody can play first base. They think.
Yeah. Well, first base is a good place to plug in Max Muncie and make sure he gets his at-bats. Mm-hmm. And that's a great way to keep him away from second base, which I would be all for. I don't know how you feel about that.
Randy says Belly is Gold Glove worthy in center field, and I agree with that. He definitely is. As I mentioned before, when he's engaged, he loses it. He loses his focus, just like he doesn't read all the instructions when making pizzas in the oven. I'm just saying.
That does happen.
You don't put your pizza
on a plastic cooking sheet?
No, it wasn't even a cooking sheet. It was a cutting board.
Oh, cutting board, yeah. And then right into the oven.
Yeah.
If you guys missed that one.
You guys learned today, everybody.
That's beautiful.
You got learned. That's very important.
Trade Kershaw for Kluber and money. I don't think either side is going to do that.
Oh, I got one. Logan says Clint can play first base. I am a right-handed batter. I got this.
He was talking about Clint Evans. Diamond Hoggers? At Diamond Hoggers?
No, he can't throw. He's got the yips. He's got the yips. Yeah. He's got the yips.
Apparently he got over it. Haven't seen it.
Allegedly.
Is Cody completely changing his swing? Lord, I hope so.
I don't know. I feel like he did that a lot last year. It didn't work out.
What do we call him? What'd you call him? Wishy-washy?
He's very wishy-washy.
Wishy-washy. Yeah.
Sorry, Jen. Apologies. I've seen a couple of questions here about second base, and I think we probably feel by this point pretty similar about second base. But I saw a question about Marwin Gonzalez. Where would Marwin fit in for you? And do you really see them trying to do anything to 2B?
He would fit into the expensive part of the lineup.
And we're learning.
Yeah. Marwin, if we could afford him, if he came to us at a discounted rate, whatever it might take, that would be great. But he's not. He's going to be an expensive guy. He's going to cost way too much money to be any type of platoon player. He's just not a guy that's going to be a viable option considering where our finances are and the goals are for the future. So, and considering how long his contract is probably going to end up being, he's going to want a decent sized contract. That's just a given at this point.
Yeah, this is pretty much his year to get big money.
Yeah, and this is his 1 year to get that big money.
Yeah, which is what I said.
Great hitter, pretty good defender.
Versatile.
He can play all over the field.
He's like if Kike was good.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
This is why we're not friends.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kike.
Yeah, because Kike, you really want Kike to be good. You really want him to be good, don't you?
Flash update. Sujo still hasn't fixed mine and Kike's relationship. I'm just saying. I asked her on the live stream a couple weeks ago.
She told me he's on vacation. He's been traveling a little bit. So
oh, boo-hoo. He went and got married.
I think, did he?
You could take time out of your life to be my friend,
to focus
Kike.
on you. Yeah, I would say he should probably put you before his now bride.
So at Saul2461 asks, how far from the majors is DJ Peters? I don't know. I don't know where he lives, so I don't know what his proximity to Dodger Stadium is. I'm sorry. It was
That's a bad joke. That's not even a good joke.
That was the whole point.
Yeah, I got it. DJ Peters
didn't he just hit A-ball, or did he finally hit AA last year?
No, he moved into AA last year, and he hit like 30 home runs at AA in 2000. Yeah, it's last year, and he hit like 30 home runs. He continued to mash. He's like 23 years old. But he's one of those guys that is inevitably going to be the Chris Davis type. The guy who's going to hit like probably 35 plus home runs, but he's going to hit like 202 or something like that.
Pretty much.
And he's going to strike out he struck out. Oh, yeah. Here it is. In 132 games, he struck out 192 times last year. He almost struck out 200 times in 130 games.
All right. I got a battle for us. You're going to have to limber up on this one. So at Rip Friedman. Rest in peace, Friedman. Pretty sure that these guys would argue against signing Trout. I don't know if you're saying these guys as in us two or the front office, but I'm taking it to heart. I'm general us. Yeah. I'm taking it that you mean us, literally myself and Brooke, that we would not. So number one, how dare you?
How dare you? And number two, I have actually said on the show several times that I would love for them to re-sign Machado.
No, I said Trout.
Oh, Trout? I thought you said Machado.
No.
You're stumbling.
You really got to listen to the whole show. Hey, you're the one who brought the
loud
in
my ears. Oh, we wouldn't sign Trout?
They're saying these guys would argue against signing Trout.
I would not.
Yeah, who would not want the best player to ever play the game of baseball?
I'd give him my car. It's not worth much. I mean, it's definitely not $400 million car.
That is a noble endeavor.
But I'll help.
I will give you my car. I will give you your choice of any cat that I have.
Mike Trout, if you're listening and you'd like a 2015 Kia Optima with a missing trim piece because I was going 100 miles an hour and it came off.
Hey, don't tell the producer, but I can probably get you a wait, what are those electric cars called again?
Tesla.
Tesla. I can get you a Tesla.
One of the nice ones too, with the doors that go.
Yeah, the doors that go like that, and sometimes they close.
And sometimes they don't because there's kids' feet in the way.
Well, you shouldn't have your kid. No, but anyway, getting back to the
my feet
were
in the way last time. Yeah, that's how
don't have kid feet.
Yeah.
Who would not want Mike Trout like that? You make that happen, but again, it says sign. Why would you're talking about signing where he's not signable? You would trade for him. That's where we're at right now. And I've had this argument with people before. There isn't a trade that makes either side happy. You trade away Mike Trout, or you trade for Mike Trout, you're giving up Buehler, Bellinger, Verdugo, Ruiz, and probably like 2 or 3 more for one guy. And the Angels will tell you one guy does not win you ball games. That's the way it works.
He doesn't?
Sorry, Angels.
Oh, that's true. The Angels. Has Mike Trout played one playoff game or something?
He has.
Like
I think he's played one wild card game.
I think he has one home run. Yeah.
No, he was over. I believe he was over.
No,
you guys let us know in the comments below. Yeah, and then now you're getting one guy back on the same side. The Angels, the Anaheim fans. That's right, Anaheim fans over there in Anaheim, in Orange County. We just traded away our franchise icon for these guys. We don't know who these people are. Again, no, I'm all for it, but there's never going to be a trade where it happens.
He played 3 games and hit a home run.
Oh.
But he literally went 1 for 12.
At Kershaw's ERA says Model X, LOL.
Yeah, he knows. He knows, Gary.
Hey. That's at producer.
You can find him at address.
At address. That's 1234 Internet Street.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what we got. We got at rgurk22. That's the name I'm giving you. I think Verdugo will be a gem in the minors or in the majors. Yes, he was a gem in the minors for sure, but he's definitely going to be a gem in the majors. The Dream Nassim, sign Lowry. What are your thoughts on Jed Lowry?
He is a person.
He's also a left-handed batter, so now we're getting deeper into that hole. Second base, I've seen some of the questions about second base as well.
I thought like left-handed people were like 1 in every 7 people.
I'm left-handed.
Yeah. Oh, you are? Well, anyways.
Only when I
that's
write.
besides the point. I don't really
when
care
I
about
write,
that.
I'm left-handed.
Yeah, Jed Lowry, he's a switch hitter though, right?
I don't think so. I thought he was just
he is a
straight up
hitter.
lefty. I don't know.
No, because he wears one of those stupid helmets. Sorry.
Technically speaking, he wears one of those stupid helmets.
He wears
that is
okay.
at Brook
Let me
Me3.
make it a little better. He wears the Orlando Hudson helmet. You know, the
we know the O-Dog. We know what helmet you're talking about. He wears
double
some
flaps.
Man, you're going with the
Professional
O-Dog
baseball.
instead of Jimmy Rollins?
And Jimmy Rollins. No,
Wait, Jimmy Rollins
O-Dog.
did he wear? No, not
he
Jimmy
wore
Rollins.
Jimmy Rollins wore single flap.
The Flying Hawaiian.
Shea
You know the guy.
Victorino.
Yeah, that guy. The guy with the face.
No, we don't talk about him, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, man, what a waste as a Dodger.
What else we got? Let's see.
A lot going on.
Trade for Tim Tebow. That person just won. They just won the stream.
Trade for Tim Tebow?
We already talked about Harper. What else you got over there? You got anything? Are you doing your homework?
We got Lee Cordova.
What?
Lee Cordova.
I don't know what that is.
You know what Lee Cordova is?
You care to elaborate? Do you need me to buy you time?
It's on the notes to shout him out, Mr. Lee Cordova.
Oh, we are shouting out. Wait, what notes are you looking at? Did my notes break? Oh, you guys are all the way down here.
Well, yeah, you got to go. Yeah.
There's a spot where it specifically says questions from live feed.
Well, that's why I was really
guys,
confused.
We're professional. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was putting him in the wrong spot. But Lee Cordova asked us to shout out his name, and so Lee Cordova, we are shouting out your name. I'm not shouting it. I'm kind of saying.
And also friend of the show, Lucas Lee.
The one and only.
The
Lucas
one and
Lee.
only. Let's see. What is it? What for Fam Life on Twitter asks, why haven't the Dodgers made any moves yet? They have. They traded away a bunch of our good players, and then we also signed Joe Kelly, friend of the show.
Greg Bergman, friend of the show.
I think that was a lie. I think that was a joke.
He asked if he can come to spring training, and he can.
Ooh, pockets are a little dry, my boy.
He can come to spring training. Greg,
Yes.
we love you, and you're too busy with the Lakers.
Yeah,
You
representing.
don't love us.
I don't know what is he going to do for Lakers Raw at Lakers Raw on Twitter and Instagram. Out in spring training. I'm just messing.
Yeah,
with
that's
you.
a bad time of the year for basketball when you're, February, end of February. Yeah.
So at INGTM22, you think Seager comes back 100%? No,
You don't?
I don't think he comes back 100%. Nobody's 100%.
I've never been 100% in my life. I was born like 75%.
Hunted. And I don't think he comes. I think he's going to be rushed back, and I'm scared the fact that he's going to be rushed back a little too soon. He does not need to start opening day. I can't. You got 2 shortstops in either Kike or CT3. 2 capable and competent shortstops. Give Seager the time he needs. That dude is the future, and I've stood by this just about all offseason. Seager, if he was in the lineup, he would have won us that World Series. At me.
Yeah, man, that's a tough pill to swallow. But you saw how he performed against Houston. He was he's a guy. He's just a guy you want on your team for life, isn't he? Isn't he just the guy you want? He's your shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
He's your shortstop.
Yeah,
that's what it boils down to.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter who's out there in free agency. I want Corey Seager in my corner. What a guy.
So I'll go one last one. I know you wanted Kelvin Herrera, who's gone. Rest in peace, Kelvin Herrera, for being a White Sox.
Bless up.
Was it at ADJV909? If I did that wrong, I'm dyslexic. Sign Cody Allen. I would do that.
I would sign Cody Allen. We talked about that later in the last year. Math is hard.
Yeah, you're so good on this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that would wrap it up. We're getting the wrap it up button. Word on the street is wrap it up.
We're getting to this.
Wrap it up. But we do thank you guys for watching and hanging out with us here on the Blue Heaven podcast in 2019. You could find us with Dodgers Nation on the internet machine. That is DodgersNation.com. Subscribe to Blue Heaven on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, all the spots you can find them. By the way, go check out DodgersNation.com. We did a renovation, and it looks whatever that means.
Beautiful.
Instagram and Twitter, that is BrookMe3. I'm RealFRG. Thank you to our crack team of those guys' names. At ZJames_. There's the finger. Oh, there's a face. He's very lost. He's very confused. Thank you to Bill Plunkett. That is at Bill Plunkett OCR because he goes hard on the exciting new names.
Bill.
Thank you guys again for hanging out with us. We'll see you next Tuesday. Go Harper signing.
Bye, guys.
I got to find my pointer now. I think it's right there. Squeak.